Very good evening to you with Sports News. I'm Damien Best. Well, the Barbados national football team, along with other Nation League qualifiers, still have a chance to get into the forthcoming CONCACAF Gold Cup. And that's the word from CONCACAF President Victor Montagliani. He says, however, the format is likely to change because of the havoc COVID-19 has had on playoff schedules. Last year, the Bajan Tridents won 4 of 6 international matches en route to their League B qualification in the Nations League. They were set to face Ghana's Golden Jaguars in March, with the first leg slated for the 26th at the BFA facility in Wilde and the return leg 5 days later at the Ghana National Track and Field Centre.
To prepare mentally to play Guyana home and away, and then move on to Trinidad if they beat Guyana. But if the format changes, because we have to change it because of the calendar, then Barbados will have the same opportunity, but it just might be a different format. It might be, I don't know what that would mean. It might be a centralized location. It might be one game. It might be, I don't know what that would mean. But we have to be ready and prepare. And we've explained that to all our members, and they totally understand because we're all in the same boat. It's no different than domestic leagues. They may have to restructure their league to fit the calendar once we get going here. So we're all cognizant that we may have to change things, but keeping in mind, whatever we change it to, that the sporting integrity of the competition must be upheld.
Surf's up, but the association says its athletes have obeyed the 24-hour curfew and restrictions on beach activity. President of the Barbados Surfing Association, Paul Bourne, admitted that the present windy conditions and sea swells of 2 meters around Barbados would make for competitive surfing. However, like all associations, it's safety first in the fight against COVID-19.
I'm actually very impressed that the surfers they've conformed so well, and I haven't had or heard any stories of anyone surfing. You know, the beaches were closed, but the ocean wasn't closed. You know, fishermen are still fishing. So I'm just surprised that no one's been out in the water, but for sure everyone must be chomping at the bit, wanting to get out there. And there's been some really good surf in the last couple of weeks too. So yeah, for sure the surfers definitely want to get back in the water. When the green light is given, then we will look at the time left in the year. Surf Promotions does their WSL event in November. Hopefully that can come off. You know, we have nationals in the second half of the year, so for sure that'll be a big local event. And we have our championship. So we have lots of things, and everything's put on hold.
Bourne also says of great concern is the uncertainty surrounding international events.
We had a team going to the ISA World Games, which was the final qualifier for the Olympics. And that has been indefinitely postponed. The Olympics are off. I mean, there's the Junior World Games, usually held in October, that we will be sending a team to. I say we will be, because it would be lovely to think that maybe by October we'll be able to travel again and gather again. But who knows where that's heading. So yes, there's lots of international stuff. And then there's the WSL. I mean, there's several of our surfers who compete in the qualifying series of the World Surf League, the WSLQS, and they've all been shut down as well. So it is complete shutdown with no knowledge of when it's going to start back.
Well, recent changes in West Indies cricket were too hasty. That's the view of former Windies fast bowler turned cricket commentator Ian Bishop. We get more in this report from TTT Sports in Trinidad.
If those born in the 90s and beyond don't know Ian Bishop the cricketer, they certainly know Ian Bishop the commentator. He lives in a suitcase, traveling the world analyzing a complicated sport to millions of viewers. The coronavirus is keeping him at home, away from being at what was supposed to be the 2020 IPL. It allowed us to talk about some of the most pressing and current issues facing West Indies cricket. Marking 1 year in office, CWI President Ricky Skerritt ripped up many of what he met at the board and installed his new agenda. Some, like Richard Pybus's firing, were too fast.
Maybe on reflection, a little bit more patience from my point of view could have been handed down just prior to that World Cup instead of those drastic changes, because the chemistry of the team, what they were building towards, would have needed time to blend.
But the price of progress in cricket is paid literally in dollars. There is a gulf between West Indies cricket's finances and the top nations in world cricket.
Been to Australia and watched what Australia are able to pump in economically into their women's side of things. So we don't have those revenue streams, and I think that must be understood. All the things that we're talking about at grassroots level, on the ground, it requires finance, it requires revenue, and that is going to be the consistent challenge for us here in the Caribbean.
And that gap between the rich and poor in cricket is not showing any signs of contracting.
A lot of those countries that have more power in terms of economic power still have to go through that process of understanding that there needs to be some give and take.
While discussions on this issue may dominate ICC board meetings in Dubai, actions to bridge that gap don't seem to be an agenda.
Well, we're going to end sports with this one. British Formula 4 champion Barbadian Zane Maloney survived a tussle and finished second in his first e-sport race at the Circuit of Barcelona recently. Since the coronavirus pandemic, motorsport has moved to e-sport to keep drivers in shape and give fans something to watch on race days. Maloney is taking part in the Kuroko Performance Series, which has attracted Formula 2, Formula 3, Indy, as well as Formula 4 drivers. And it's a series that will run for 4 weeks in the first instance, with racing on Fridays. And Maloney, who was driving car number 18, the blue and yellow machine, finished second behind Dion Gouda of Singapore. And that's it for sports. The weather details up next.
Only manages to